A lot of people have already talked about this episode, but since JJK means so much to me, I still wanted to give my thoughts, and obviously, I loved it. You've probably seen countless videos, Twitter threads talking about how great the episode was, so I wanted to try come in from a slightly different angle and specifically talk about how this episode handles the task of adapting Gege Akutami's manga, because I feel it is the perfect example of how you can adapt a manga to an anime while making it a unique experience for manga readers, as well as staying faithful to the source material. More often than not, you get anime adaptations that go one of two ways. Either they feel like a one-to-one copy-paste of the manga, which, don't get me wrong, if the manga is great, that often means the anime is going to be at least good, or they completely go in their own direction, Black Butler, and feel disrespectful to the source material, or they just end up being like filler. JUJUTSU Kaisen Season 2 Episode 1 takes what I like to call the yes and approach for its adaptation. So yes and is basically, it's a concept in improv where you take what one person said and then you add on to it. And this is essentially what JJK Season 2 is doing. It is taking the content that is in the manga and it is saying, and we're going to add this, we're going to change this, we're going to shoot this like this, use this specific shot, this specific technique, add this specific line of dialogue, or maybe make this scene take place somewhere else or in a different way, and it's all just to enhance the content that we already have in the manga. All of which serve to purely enhance the story, the characters, their interactions, and the overall viewing experience. It takes full advantage of the medium of anime, not wasting any opportunity it has to improve upon or even develop the manga content. It feels like a passion project, a love letter to the manga that truly understands and respects it, yet somehow still manages to enhance it through every scene, every frame. It embraces the silly, fun, chibi style of the manga, especially in this arc, yet still manages to do justice to the bleak, horror tone of the opening scene with Geto's monologue. There isn't a single better example of this yes and approach than the opening 10-minute scene with Utahime and Meme investigating the mansion. Not only did they decide to lengthen a scene that is 3 or 4 pages in the manga into a full 10-minute opening scene for the anime, but the technical aspects on display here are just phenomenal. You've heard about the cinematography, the direction, the character acting, the animation, the details, the backgrounds, the composition. Everything here is just flawless and it's almost on movie level quality. The POV shots of Utahime, the tracking shot of her running down the hallway as it contorts and breaks behind her, it's incredible stuff. And all of this is anime original. You don't see this type of thing in many adaptations, so having this back to back with Chainsaw Man last year is really beautiful to see. Now this scene is easily the largest and most talked about addition, so it's very easy to overlook some of the other changes and additions, but something as simple as Geto taking up the elevator to find Riko before the attack from the Q group, while continuing the conversation with Gojo on the phone, rather than just having both of them standing at the building talking, it's such a simple change, but it makes the scene flow so much better and feel much more dynamic from an anime perspective. In the manga, it's very easy to just have two characters standing there in a position having a conversation, and you don't really think about it, you don't notice, but if that was to happen in the anime, it could ruin the flow, it could feel stagnant, so this change is just really nice, and they do the same thing with the basketball scene, where Gojo and Geto are discussing their philosophies, their morals, how they feel about jujutsu sorcerers, etc. The manga has this take place in just a classroom where they're just sitting there talking, but again, adding the basketball game in the anime makes it flow so much better and it feels so alive. These characters feel like they're really in this space, they're interacting. They're such small specific additions, but they're made for such clear reasons, and they only elevate the material that was already amazing in the manga. This was absolutely not within anyone's expectations for the season. They clearly went above and beyond here. The sky is definitely the limit for the rest of the season, because oh my god, if this is the care, effort, and attention going into the whole season, from what we just saw in this first episode, then we are in for some incredible anime original content for Shibuya and for the rest of Hidden Inventory. We already know that the 2 big fights that take place in this arc are going to be extended as we expected, and from the glimpses we've seen in the trailers, it's going to look phenomenal. So yeah, I basically just wanted to rant not just about how great the episode was in isolation, but really focus in and bring attention to how much love and care this team has for Akutami's manga. How they can absolutely make the most out of every single scene, every single panel. It feels like a dream come true seeing this adapted in such a way. I haven't even mentioned the voice acting, the sound design, the color palette, all of which are incredible. But I don't want this video to run on too long. I'm definitely going to be going into more detail on everything as the season progresses and I do my videos on each episode. Hopefully they won't take as long as this one, and they'll be coming out probably the Friday after the episode drops. So yeah, I feel like this episode alone could be used to teach a crash course on how to adapt and enhance the content of a manga for an anime, and I just couldn't be happier. Thank you guys very much for watching. I'll see you probably on Friday for my episode 2 video. Meanwhile, please check out the rest of my JJK content, as well as anything else I've done that you might be interested in, and I will see you guys in a blur.